Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, after the events like violent protests in Dhaka and elsewhere in Bangladesh to end the job quota, and also the India Out campaign and the slogans like Delhi or Dhaka, 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 culminated on August 5th, 2024, when the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina Wajid ousted from its position, and she flew to its origin, India. After that, the Pakistan and Bangladesh both are eager to reset their bilateral relations, which were continuously stalled for 15 long years during former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We have seen, and it was evident, the very productive meeting between Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the Bangladesh Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus at the sidelines of United Nations General Assembly session this September 2024. In the current scenario, both of the leadership is agreed upon that this whole gambit of bilateral relation will be enhanced at the fast pace. Both the diplomatic mission in Dhaka and Islamabad and their diplomats are engaging with the high-ups and high officials to revive the Joint Economic Commission after 17 long years. Preferential trade agreement and the free trade agreement is already on table. Both countries are eager to increase their bilateral trade, which is still hovering around $1 billion. And both the countries want to ease visa regime and also the direct flights, because these are going to resume when the negotiations will be on. And this is particular to enhance people-to-people contacts and also to enhance trade and business relations. There are a lot more in between Pakistan and Bangladesh. We navigate the vitality of Pakistan and Bangladesh relationship and also explore the opportunities which exist for renewed cooperation and mutual growth as two nations shares the common history, religion, culture, and traditions. We will also share the destiny by navigating the challenges of a rapidly challenging world. Pakistan and Bangladesh relationship is paramount when it comes to the regional security, cooperation, trade, economic growth, and all that. To discuss this very important matter, we have in our studios Dr. Awais bin Wasi. He is the Indian Affairs expert. Most welcome to you, Dr. Thank you very much for your presence. Welcome. We have Dr. Hidayat Khan. He is the head of Department of Economics at the National University of Modern Languages, Islamabad. Most welcome to you, Dr. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And online joining us, Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar Shah. He is the Strategic Affairs expert. Most welcome to you, Brigadier. Thank you very much for your presence online. My first question is to you, Awais bin Wasi sir, that what happened really in Bangladesh as Awami League and the Sheikh Hasina, the former Prime Minister, were serving Indian motives and Indian objectives more than the Delhi wanted. And it might be because of this one that more support to India rather than India wants, or there was any other reasons as the students were protesting to end the long job quota which was restricted for the Awami League fighters and their families, and then India Out campaign and Delhi or Dhaka, and the slogans were the Dhaka, 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 and then of course the border conflicts between Bangladesh and India, the water sharing issues, then trade imbalances or the non-tariff barriers as well, India too much interference into the Bangladeshi affairs, or India's internal politics towards the Muslims, particularly the Bangladeshis.
As you have discussed, or you have situated the, in your question, that the triggering point that has become the quota, 30% quota that was given to the dependents and relatives of war veterans. But I think that this violent protest that led to the overthrowing of Sheikh Hasina government.
That was not limited to that.
That was not
quota
limited
issue.
to that. That was because of the authoritarian rule, autocratic rule of Sheikh Hasina, and the pent-up anger in the larger population for the last 15 years. So I think that culminated this overthrowing of the government. And of course, that if we see that there are several incidents, for example, citizenship acts, India's intrusive or India's interference in Bangladesh
And lots of Bengali
political
descent
matters.
were targeted particularly.
Exactly, that was also one of the reasons. And 3 elections, they were massively rigged. And because of that, the major opposition political party, BNP, did not participate in these, this electoral exercise. So I think that because of this pent-up anger, because of the authoritative, autocratic, and suppressive rule of Sheikh Hasina, the way that she, suppressed and repressed the dissenting forces, the opposition forces, and his very close ties with India, I think that became the cause of this, unprecedented development in Bangladesh.
Definitely, definitely. But thank your point well taken. Dr. Hidayat, Pakistan and Bangladesh have immense bilateral trade potential. Just last year, we had at least $1.5 billion of the bilateral trade, which were mostly in favor of Pakistan, but substantial increase as compared to the previous years. So, but it is still fall short of the true potential, because both countries have a lot of potential to have huge trade volume. Given both nations the size and economy, while still have high tariffs, the non-tariff barriers are existing, increasing transaction costs and reducing competitiveness hindrance that flows of the goods between the two countries. So how do you see how we can remove it and how we can engage each other with the diverse trade and export potential?
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. As you have said that despite relationship which were not quite normal, Bangladesh and Pakistan had a foreign trade of 1.5 billion. So according to the estimate, it can be double. So we have the potential of $3 billion export to
at least
to the Bangladesh. But the major
you're talking about Pakistan's exports.
Yeah,
to
Pakistan
Bangladesh.
exports.
Okay.
So we can even double it. And the major barrier, as some are identified by you, are trade barriers. Tariff barriers. We have imposed different kind of duties and different kind of tariffs on mutual imports and exports. The second thing is non-tariff barriers, which are certification and standards and bureaucratic red tape. The third thing is that transaction cost. For example, if something is going out of the Pakistan and it is coming from Bangladesh towards Pakistan, we have to pay the transaction cost is higher as compared to Pakistan's trade with the other countries. And especially when we are dealing.
Why? What's the reason behind?
Because one is the mindset. You know that historically we are treating us like not very friendly countries. So the mindset when Pakistani see made in Bangladesh and when Bengali see made in Pakistan, so there is a kind of, like you can say, inbuilt.
But there is more acceptance in the Bangladeshi society rather than the bureaucracy or
Yes,
the government, and particularly that was in the Sheikh Hasina's era. Now the situation is getting changed. We can see a sea change there.
But it will take some time, you know.
Definitely it will take some time.
When there is engagement at the top level, so it will send a signal to the bureaucrats and the people who are taking care of the customs and who are involved in different regulation. Basically, they are bureaucrats as well. So I think that it can lead to very favorable environment, but I will say that we must be very cautious. We should take our sentiment at one side and look at our interests and our interests as a whole, because sometimes
Intelligent decision making is
yes,
very important.
sometimes out of sentiments we make the decision which are not good for us in the long run.
Definitely, but we have to take decisions right at the right time.
Yes.
And the correct decisions with
Yes.
true intelligence.
Yes.
No doubt about that. Dr. Awais, what's meant by the destruction of the statues of the Mujibur Rahman and of his photos on currency notes and of the slogan Joy Bangla, minimizing the Indian influence from the different entities and so on?
This vandalizing or dismantling of the statue of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, that is not the dismantling of the statue. Basically, it is the dismantling of the ideas or the ideals which these people stood for. So I think that the current generation, the posterity, they have realized that this leadership, they, it had betrayed, the people of Bangladesh. This is number one. And second thing, if you see here that the forces which they opposed at that time, for example, for example, Jinnah's Pakistan or Jinnah's vision or two-nation theory, the irony is that now they have realized it, and they're, for the first time in the history of Bangladesh, that the anniversary of founder of Pakistan,
Quaid
Quaid-e-Azam
Azam
Muhammad
Muhammad
Ali
Ali
Jinnah,
yes,
that
definitely.
was observed in the National Press Club of Dhaka.
Definitely.
And in which I have observed the whole event, and in which two students, they paid a tribute to Muhammad Ali Jinnah by singing a song. So such kind of expression, such kind of sentiment in among the posterity, among the youth, that indicates that now in the current Bangladesh, perhaps there is no room or there is no space for the ideals which Sheikh Mujib and his family espoused for in Bangladesh.
Definitely, for what they worked for India, definitely. And Bangladeshi students and Bangladeshi population knows that. Brigadier Ghazanfar Sahib, what kind of sentiments exists after Asina's oust in Bangladesh? Whether Dhaka really wants its relations to be stronger with Pakistan, or it's just a matter of time? Because vibes from Dhaka are very positive, especially as Dr. Awais bin Wasi said, that when Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founding father of Pakistan's death anniversary, was observed for the very first time in Bangladesh in Press Club, and when interim government in Bangladesh, caretaker government in Bangladesh, given import orders to Pakistani entities, very first time we have seen Pakistani ships in Chittagong. So how do you see that? Is it the region is changing, the Bangladesh is changing and having fruitful relations in between, because we have lots of bonds together?
Thank you very much, Faisal. Actually, what happened in Bangladesh, you have amply talked about it, and the speakers have, Dr. Shah have spoken about it. It is basically what was happening in Bangladesh initially. You have to see it over a period of time, that how did it converse till the time Hasina Wajid was ousted from the premiership. And if you remember Mujibur Rahman's time, and if you remember the All Students Union Action Committee, which was formed in the times of Mujibur Rahman, and what the sentiments of students were there at that point of time, and what happened in Dhaka University and how it was propagated. It was basically because Mujibur Rahman was seen as a liberator of Bangladesh, but whatever Mujibur Rahman did, the authors and the writers and intellectuals wrote at that time after his death, that he was a double-faced person. He talked about the people welfare when there was a movement going on, and after taking over the Bangladesh, he implemented socialism, and he implemented all those policies which were against the interests of the people of Bangladesh, and that it gradually went on. Then you've talked of the Indian interrogation. I remember Brigadier Khalid, whose brother was Rashid Musharraf. At that point of time, when Mujib was in power, Brigadier Khalid and Rashid Musharraf was in contact with RAW. They had a collaboration with RAW. There was a joint office which was elected with the Brigadier Khalid and Brigadier Rashid Musharraf, who was Brigadier Khalid's brother, who was in India and Bangladesh Army. And at that point of time, all those policies were implemented through RAW. By India, which denied the interest of the people of Bangladesh. And why was Mujib killed? Because all those smugglers and all those people who were involved in anti-people rights in Bangladesh were very close friend of Musharraf, were very close friend of Mujibur Rahman. And Mujibur Rahman and his brother, Sheikh Kamal, were exploiting Bangladesh. So those are the sentiments which went over till the time Hasina Wajid came. And you remember in the last election, there were reports in the press that 23,000 people of opposition were jailed before the election. And then you see what happened with Jamaat Islami. So these things have now appeared to have died down. And people have realized that not only India, but Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his family were subjugating people of Bangladesh. So whatever is happened today now, I hope it goes on, and it will only go on if we also collaborate with those people in real true spirit to build up Bangladesh or to build up the relation between Pakistan and Bangladesh. And nothing can build up relation more good because Pakistan had always been favorable to Bangladesh. And I remember
So,
a very
Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar Sahib, you were talking about building up relationship. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif have a very fruitful meeting in New York at the sidelines of UNGA, called for translating existing goodwill between Islamabad and Dhaka to tangible cooperation. During that meeting, particularly, both agreed to forge stronger ties and enhance bilateral cooperation in all fields. How do you see this sea change, especially in Dhaka, and how do you see the future collaboration between Pakistan and Bangladesh in a stronger term?
You see, you have used one word, that is tangible. And once you talk of tangible, tangible has to be both-handed. So tangible, Prime Minister has expressed, but are we ready to reciprocate? Would we be ready to reciprocate? Because if you see, if you talk of the economic term, and if you talk about the export terms, if you lift up the 2023 export to Pakistan, the biggest export have been of the cotton, which was the woven cotton and the raw cotton. In Pakistan now you are facing a problem of cotton production. So are we in a position to reciprocate those things which are in economic terms or goodwill terms? You will reciprocate. What will goodwill terms? You will exchange the dignitaries, you will exchange the social culture, you will exchange people to people contact, you will have less relaxing visa regime.
But Brigadier Sahib, fortunate thing is that both Dhaka and Islamabad are very eager, and they are practically doing some steps to have enhancement of trade and bilateral economic relationship. So your point well taken. Dr. Awais, what about Pakistan's efforts to revive the bilateral joint economic commission, which was ineffective and virtually redundant during the Sheikh Hasina's government, as the last meeting of the Joint Economic Commission which took place some 17 years ago in 2007, and also resumption of the Foreign Secretary level consultations on bilateral level. How do you see, because very serious negotiations are going on in between?
Yes, there are two apex forums. One is that JEC, to forge cooperation on trade.
That is obviously
and
a very
commerce.
important forum.
Yes, that is very important, of course. So as you have mentioned that during this era of Sheikh Hasina in 2007, this became redundant, and since then that now the efforts are quite working, that is also taking place to revive this forum. And in this connection, as you have already mentioned, that the meeting between the two heads, the head of Pakistan, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, Prime Minister, and Dr. Yunus, they had a meeting in the sidelines of UNGA, and 3 meetings so far between the foreign secretaries of Pakistan and Bangladesh that have also taken place, and in which, as reported in different newspapers, that they discussed the possible avenues of cooperation in trade and commerce and people-to-people contact. And similarly, Pakistani High Commissioner in Bangladesh, he also held talks with the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, and in which these discussions have also taken place. So
some of the former High Commissioners who served there in Dhaka, they have the words that earlier during the Hasina's time, it was very difficult to fix any meeting either in the Bangladeshi Foreign Office or to their economic ministries or all that.
Yes.
So now it's very feasible and with very ease.
Very ease, and working is already underway.
Definitely.
To chalk out the modalities to establish trade
when you have a
relations,
cordial
foreign
working
relations.
relationship, you can imagine that hopes are always alive.
Of course.
Really. Your point well taken. Dr. Hidayat, how upcoming proposed Joint Economic Commission would pave the way to enhance bilateral trade, have a free trade agreement, because that is already envisaged, or the preferential trade agreement, whatever would be, exchange of the trade delegations and cooperation among the trade bodies like Trade Development Authority of Pakistan and the Export Promotion Bureau of Bangladesh, bilateral investment treaty that is already on cards from the last many years, small and medium enterprise cooperation. Bangladesh is stressing upon that time and again. Reactivation of the Joint Business Council and technical cooperation in the field of textile, as the Dhaka demand to have the duty-free access to the Pakistani market, at least 10 products category covering at least 1 or 4 products.
Okay. First of all, talking about JEC and BTC, I think if the current government is able to revive those two forums, I think almost 60% of the thing will be right on track.
Exactly.
The second thing is that about the different business bodies of Pakistan and different business entities of Pakistan, like Chamber of Commerce or different business forums. If there are frequent interaction between these two, I think people are at our side, they are very intelligent, and at that side they are also very intelligent. So I think within no time they will find the opportunities where it will be mutually beneficial. About the textile, I have certain reservation about that, because most of our textile products are going to the markets where Bangladesh is also there, and we are kind of competitors. So we should be very cautious when we are moving toward some kind of agreement with the Bangladesh on textile side, because in business trade always matters. So this is the thing which is a bit sensitive. We should not make hasty decisions.
This is a kind of a business secret you have unveiled. Really.
Yeah. So that's why, like in case of textile, we shouldn't take decision or measure in haste.
Definitely, you're right. So what about the hydrocarbons and the mineral exploration?
This is very interesting.
And development, as it could be another lucrative area between both the countries to jointly explore and have joint ventures, as reports suggest that both countries are eager to discuss it in Joint Economic Commission.
It is a very interesting, and there where the both countries can mutually benefit. Like in our case, Arabian Sea, in their case, Bay of Bengal, offshore exploration. Then onshore exploration.
I think so Pakistan has a lot of expertise when it comes to the onshore drilling
in case of like we can have joint ventures in Balochistan, and then we can have joint venture with Bangladeshis in Sylhet. So these are the two, like onshore and offshore exploration. The second thing is that if we can have mineral development ventures together, because it is believed that Bangladesh have I'm not sure about the magnitude of the copper or the other minerals, but it is believed that Bangladesh have rich availability of mineral, and Balochistan also have.
Definitely.
So if we can have joint venture in Balochistan and some coastal areas of Bangladesh. The third thing is about the SMEs, which I forgot from the previous question. I think that the Bangladesh has very advantage in SMEs, and we can learn a lot from.
They have a lot of experience in that, and
yes,
it's a huge industry.
Yeah, we can learn a lot from them, and then the way they are managing their supply chain if we are able to use those techniques in our supply chain.
And Mohammed Yunus, Dr. Mohammed Yunus himself
Yes,
is a
and-
master of microfinance.
And the thing is that, like, above everything, we always say that developing countries or global West have given this to the underdeveloped countries and that, but the underdeveloped countries and developing country has given microfinance to the global West, and that is something where we can learn, because you know I teach economy of Pakistan, and almost 98% of our SMEs are not having credit access. If we are taking the advantage of microfinance and their experience of
Bangladeshi experience
yes.
Would be replicated in Pakistan.
Yes, and then
we can learn a lot from
then
that.
the third more important thing, sorry I'm taking a bit of time, the involvement of female labor force,
Definitely.
which is
definitely.
very high in case of Bangladesh. In our case it is quite low, so we can also take advantage of female labor force participation.
If we want to have an inclusive growth and development,
Yes, yes.
our women must have to be.
Yes.
Awais bin Wasi sahab, how much people-to-people contacts actually in terms of health, education, tourism, sports, science and technology and other aspects is necessary actually for that particular matter, the ease in the visa regime and having resumptions of the direct flights is imperative, and whether any movement on this front as well?
You know, currently there is goodwill, especially in Bangladesh, with regard to Pakistan. That was already there among the people of Bangladesh, but because of this autocratic and authoritative and extremely pro-India rule of Sheikh Hasina, that not be materialized. I think this is high time now that we need to have the multi-pronged and multi-sectoral a strategy to forge ties and to deepen ties. And in this connection, some developments have already been made. For example, Pakistan has announced 300 scholarship to the Bangladeshi students, and Dhaka University had also offered admission for Pakistani students. So this is in educational sector, it's a very, very positive development, and I think it should be expanded, and some other universities, they should also take initiative to have this educational collaboration. Second thing, with regard to trade, that we also saw the tangible development, that the direct shipping trade route that had also been revived between Pakistan and Bangladesh through Chittagong. Previously, this used to be taken place through other routes, through Malaysia or through Singapore, and that incurred cost, and it was a long distance trade. So now I think that with this establishment of this new shipping trade, I think there are prospects to have the increase of trade, and also it would reduce the distance and it would reduce the cost as well. And Bangladeshi authorities, they are also taking some measure to provide some facilitation to, for example, earlier there were some some restrictions, so earlier these, I think that now they are being eased out, these restrictions, and further facilitation
Dr. Awais, your point well
them.
taken. Dr. Hidayat, what about the areas which have export significance? Convergence regarding the relevant industries like food, information technology, textile and others. As Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industries is also developing a detailed export strategy, while several draft MOUs are already there on table for the bilateral cooperation among, as we have mentioned earlier, the TDAP and Export Promotion Bureau of Bangladesh, the Science and Technology, Maritime Affairs, like shipping exchange, the aviation division, particularly the direct flights and so on. So how do you see this type of cooperation include that the defense production as well?
Okay, this is a very pertinent question, and I will start from food. In Bangladesh, rice is a staple food, and Pakistan is the net exporter of rice. So we have quite enough surpluses which we can exchange with the Bangladesh. We are the net importer of tea. Bangladesh grows tea, and we are importing it from the rest of the world. So if in food industry we can only focus on rice and tea exchange, it will be beneficial for both of the countries. The second thing about the IT exports are buzzword in Pakistan as well, and we know that how much India is earning from that. And both Pakistan and Bangladesh have population youth bulge. So I think by when you look at the socio-economic problem, Bangladesh and we have almost
similar kind of issues.
So by having cooperation in IT and software export and developing our human resources in the field of IT, so we can both have benefits. The other sector, which I think have quite potential between Pakistan and Bangladesh, is pharmaceuticals.
Yes, yes, no doubt.
In both countries, it is a growing sector, but unfortunately, our consumer is paying very high price for that. So if there is some kind of bilateral agreement between the two countries, and if they can tap as a single market from the multinational,
even surgical equipment, sportswear, sports goods and all others.
So they can benefit. Now coming lastly to the education, if we can have exchange, like at the university level, regular exchange, so this will give an opportunity both to Pakistanis and Bangladeshis to understand each other, that what the media is portraying about us and what we really are. And another thing, like if I wish that both sides, the government realize that if we can take out bitterness and bias from our syllabus about both the countries, I think in coming 10 to 15 years, it will have drastic effects.
Definitely, you are absolutely right on that front particularly. But Pakistani and Bangladeshi traders, exporters, importers and investors are always complaining about lots of issues. Whether both countries will robustly ease the lengthy bureaucratic procedures, simplify the regulatory complexities and the custom procedures, particularly the reducing tariffs and harmonizing the regulations to streamline bilateral trade and enhance the market access.
Actually, you know, I will refer back to my first question. It will take some time.
Definitely.
Because it cannot be done overnight. Yes, what we can do, we can take the benefit out of the SAFTA. We already have like some kind of free trade agreement, and if we can turn it into bilateral free trade agreement between Bangladesh and Pakistan.
You're talking about converting SAFTA into the bilateral,
yes,
or getting benefit from SAFTA and envisaging our own bilateral trade agreement?
And even I can suggest that we can have one country tariff. That, for example, if rice is going out of Pakistan toward Bangladesh, there shouldn't be double tariff on
Definitely.
that. If tea is coming from Bangladesh towards Pakistan, there should be single tariff. So by that, the tea growers in Bangladesh will be benefiting and the rice grower in Pakistan will be benefiting.
Definitely.
So, but as I have told you that a lot is need to be done, and the media has to play a great role.
Media is playing its role. You are sitting in Beauty World Studio.
Yes, but I think that we need to have more discussion on that.
Definitely. It is very important, very pertinent point, Dr. Hidayat. Brigadier Ghazanfar, are you listening, I hope?
Yes, I can.
Bangladesh is my previous question, that how do you categorize the urge in Bangladesh to have security, defense, or a kind of a nuclear pact with Pakistan, as just recently the Dhaka University professor Syed proposed close ties and a nuclear treaty with Pakistan to counter Indian nefarious designs, and received with thunderous applause from the audience. So it means there is an urge in Bangladesh to have closer military defense and even the nuclear ties with Pakistan.
Actually, I would say that there was a very close edge in Pakistan, or in the Pakistan army also, to have a very closer ties with Bangladesh on different matters which relate to defense and the security. You have raised 2 points in your question. One is the security and defense and military to military, or navy to navy, or air force to air force relationship, which comes in the common defense. And the second point which you have raised, which then would cover the security also, which then would cover the terrorism also, which then cover the counter-terrorism also. All these aspects, which we are already collaborating with number of the Arab countries, like we are collaborating with Saudi Arabia. We have very close defense and the security ties with them. But second point which you have raised is concerning the nuclear aspect. Now the nuclear aspect falls into two realms. One is the peaceful nuclear cooperation, which is based to the different
cooperation, definitely,
yes.
and for the military purpose.
And second is the nuclear capability, which has the missile capability, which has the nuclear capability. As far as the nuclear capability, missile capability, and other things are concerned, you know, they come under very strict watch, and that strict watch is originated from IAEA, and there are a lot of inhibitions, there are a lot of conditions related to that. So I would not go into that detail, and that cannot be done. That is not possible that we exchange something as far as the nuclear, the nuclear capability.
But I think so. We can have the cooperation with Bangladesh regarding the nuclear medicine, the use of nuclear energy, and also in agriculture, enhancing the shelf life of the perishable items and all others.
Yes, I was referring to that because we have got a very big potential as far as pharmaceuticals is concerned between the bilateral trade between Bangladesh and Pakistan. But I would emphasize here, and I think it will be feasible in coming days, that we should have very close defense ties with Bangladesh. And once I talk of the defense ties, it's not related to taking over the borders of the Bangladesh or taking over the army of Bangladesh, because Bangladesh army has very serious problems. You know, in Bangladesh army, there are a number of other armies which have been created by the local leadership. If you go into the details of General Zaur Rahman time, there were a number of officers who were court-martialed because of the reason that they have created their own cloud within the army. And then you see the killing of the Mujibur Rahman, and how did that Kal Farooq and his comrades, created a group which killed Mujibur Rahman, and then go into the details recently what has happened in Bangladesh army. So Bangladesh army has to be united into a...
Brigadier Ghazanfar Sahib, I was going through some of the media reports in which very clearly stated that Pakistan's military capability, its training centers, particularly capabilities and capacities and overall scenario can help Bangladesh a lot in that sense, that there must have to be a specialized training of the Bangladeshi troops, the capacity building, the joint military exercises, the joint defense production, and also there are lots of aspects even in intelligence matters, they can be enhanced when it comes to the Bangladeshi military and its overall security apparatus.
Yes, that's what I was referring to. That Bangladesh army, in my opinion, at this point of time, it does not have that professional competence which is required by a national army, because Bangladesh army has to be a national army. And as I told you, that within Bangladesh army there were a number of these separate local groups which are operating within the realm of the Bangladesh army, which is not making it a joint, which is not making it a credible, coordinated force. So Pakistan can help it a lot in reorganization, refurbishing, and then the training aspects which you have already pointed out in our different training institutions. You know, Pakistan training institutions are regarded as one of the best training institutions in the world. Our defense, Command and Defense College, our National Defense University enjoys a very prestigious position in the world's training academies. And related to that, if you go to the special courses like Infantry School, like Artillery School, like Armored School, we are taken as one of the very credible training institutions, and which Bangladesh lacks in my point of view, because I have been reading them, I've been seeing their training, I've been reading their books. They are not up to that standard which will make them I could say very openly.
So, Brigadier Ghazanfar Sahib, since the departure of the Sheikh Hasina, threats to Bangladesh enhance as India seems to be the friend of Hasina rather than to be the Bangladeshi people. Then lots of issues exist between Bangladesh and India, and records tell us that Delhi has the cruel nature of hatching conspiracies, executing them against its neighbors, as Pakistan is facing on multiple fronts from the last many decades. How Islamabad can robustly support Dhaka to defend against the variety of Indian threats and challenges posed by the very nefarious neighbor?
Bangladesh has to develop a very credible and very professional national arm, and that is where Pakistan can help. And I have pointed you out that at this present point of time, Bangladesh army does not have the capability to face the Indian forces. They neither have the training, nor have the weaponry, nor have the necessary expertise to face such like situation, as you have already pointed out in relation to threat from India. So Pakistan can help in a big way in developing a very strong professional national army in Bangladesh. And for that, you will have to have the exchange of not only the Bangladesh officers, but you will have to have the exchange of that Bangladesh under commands and lower ranks, like we see Havaldar, Sultans and all that. For that, there can be two things. One is that they come into Pakistan training institution to get training, and second thing which Pakistan does is that deputing the training teams into different Bangladesh professional colleges, army professional colleges, army professional institutions, army professional training centers, where Pakistan can depute their officers, Pakistan can depute their teams who can go there and train those people. So it has to be now sorted out how does Bangladesh want to proceed with it. Because as you mentioned,
Your point well taken, Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar Sahab, your point well taken. Dr. Awais, according to the Bangladeshi media, Dr. Yunus has a strong ties with the United States Democrats. But now Republicans are going to be in control. India started its lobbying in the US and in favor of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Now India intends to shift her into the third country just to have some sort of appeal from the Bangladeshi population. India also wants that she must have to operate from the third country so that it can ease some sort of a diplomacy for her to give a positive gesture to Dhaka as well, and also initiate a gameplay in favor of Ms. Hasina. So what would be the future of Islamabad-Dhaka ties in such a scenario when there would be a Trump administration in the United States, India's lobbying in favor of Hasina to bring her back to Bangladesh, or might be into the power as well. So shifting her to third country and getting sympathies of the Bangladeshi people as well.
You know, as far as Trump administration, the incoming administration is concerned, so I don't think that there will be any shift US policy towards South Asia or towards Asia Pacific. I think that will remain same, and the position which India enjoys in US policy metrics, that being the strategic pivot of US policy towards South Asia and Asia Pacific, I think that will remain so. But what Pakistan needs to do is that Pakistan, I think, needs to focus on the regional integration. First of all, Pakistan should work to revive SAARC. And if India is not interested to become part of SAARC, so then there is another proposal, that South Asian Peace and Prosperity Initiative, that could also be launched to have this regional integration that could be done. The second thing, you know, continuing the same approach of regional integration, the quadrilateral integration, because one belt and one road initiative that is there in Pakistan and in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh and China, I think that the closer ties should be established and their ports should be integrated, whether it is Port Qasim or Gwadar or Colombo or Chittagong. So I think that there should be a close integration to connect South Asia with ASEAN, Central Asia, West China and even in Afghanistan. So I think that this approach needs to be adopted for that.
Your point well taken. And Dr. Hidayat, it seems that lots of media reports are coming that might be in the late December this month, or might be the earlier in January, or might be in February. There would be the Joint Economic Commission. So what would be the Pakistan's priorities regarding engaging Bangladesh in a true manner, particularly regarding trade and enhancing economic ties?
As I have said earlier, that first of all, we
very brief, because we have run short
we
of
will
time.
have to look at the JEC, like how can we revive that, and the second thing is that how we can make it compatible with the current challenges, with the existing challenges. The second thing is that expecting too much in a single meeting, it will be like, it will not be rational. So we need to have those kind of contact more frequently, and we need to, as I have said, that our approach must be rational, not sentimental. So if we are taking rational and what you say, based on our national interest steps, slowly and gradually, I think the thing will move toward the betterment. But whether it is JEC or whether it is BTC or whether it is SAFTA or bilateral trade agreement, we have to keep our own interests prime.
Definitely, you're absolutely right, Dr. Hidayat. Thank you very much for your presence in the studios, Dr. Awais. Thank you very much for your presence. And thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Ghazanfar Ali Shah Sahab. Thank you very much for your very candid views and very brief views. Thank you very much for your presence online. Viewers, as you have just listened to our panelists, what happened in Bangladesh was the complete rejection of the Indian policies of hegemon, interference into the Bangladesh internal affairs, and spreading terrorism across region. And despite of India's negative campaign and nefarious designs, Pakistan and Bangladesh has to strengthen their mutual relationship and to reset the ongoing hard work and the ties between the two countries. The Joint Economic Commission or the Bilateral Investment Treaty are the important areas. The 60% of the bilateral trade and economy issue will be resolved if that is done. Mineral development, hydrocarbon exploration could be another area where Pakistan and Bangladesh can cooperate between each other. Announcing 300 scholarships for the Bangladeshi students and also leverage and space for Pakistani students in Dhaka University is also a welcoming step. The visa regime and the direct flights, these are the areas which are must, not only for the people-to-people contact, the student exchange, the faculty exchange in between, the education ties, but also for the business people to visit each other and for having bilateral investments. Tariff barriers must have to be removed because in either case, whether it's in Pakistan for Bangladesh or for Pakistan in Bangladesh, those must have to be removed. Pakistan has to work on regional integration, including Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and China, and all others who have the convergence of views and wants to develop overall region and develop their economies. This is today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.